What's up, guys? Chili from Old Town. Uh, Back with you again. I was getting ready to do a little bit of. Look like I have technical difficulties again. Why? I have no idea. But I'm dropping frames by the thousands, quick, fast, and in a hurry. All right, it's slowed down a little bit now, so maybe whatever I just clicked got it in a little better shape. Let's see if we've got our stream working or our comment box working. And let's see if that's working. That was a comment. I meant to do something else. 1, 2, 3. Testing. So do we have that working? Yeah, so we have, okay. So we might have got the technical difficulty out of our way. We started out right there within the first 15 or 20 seconds and it was dropping frames like crazy. But now all of a sudden now I've got it, I made some kind of change right there and I've got the frames not dropping no more. So what I was going to do today, I was going to share something with you that I discovered yesterday evening. Well, I've talked about these 3 lays for a week or 2 now. Andrew's been talking to me about the 6, about laying the back wall, and then he went over a week or 2 back and he started talking about using 3 $30 bets in this fashion to lay 3 sister numbers. What I mean by sister numbers is either lay the 4 or the 10, lay the 5 or the 9, lay the 6 or the 8. All right, and then so that's $90. So kind of the way he described it, but you kind of, if you're watching a table and somebody's hitting a 6 a lot, or somebody's hitting an 8 a lot, and your 6 finally gets hit, you might not want to return that $30 on the 8. So his original way that he said you might want to use the 330s is pick the 3 numbers that you're going to use, which, like I said, it can either be the 4 or 10, it can be the 2, it can be the 5 or 9, it can be the 6 or 8, and then just say one of them got picked off. Say the 4 got picked off. So he said put that back up, increase it by 1.5, and then bring the other 2 lays up to match that, but go to the 10, go to the sister number. All right, you can do that. You can tweak it any kind of way. But this was the thing. So I wrote out a bunch of numbers, and I was trying to figure out exactly the pays and stuff and try to get myself familiar with this. And what I didn't realize till last night at the casino, live casino, was on the first, when you first put the 90 out, if one gets knocked off, he says to go to level 2. That's level 1, just having no knockoffs. But let's say one got knocked off, his level 2 was to replace that one, either the 5 or the 9. But he was saying go to the sister number for 48, and then take the 4 and the 6 up to 48. But what I discovered last night was on this level, if one gets knocked off, you don't really have to do nothing. You can just wait it out. You know, because if the 7 comes before if the other 2 are still up, so let's put the 2 smaller payouts first. The 6 or the 8 has the bigger payout. So let's say the 6 got knocked off, and we didn't do anything. We just left them 2 $30 lays right there on the 5 and 4. Here would be the payout. You'd get a $15 for the 4, and you'd get $20 for the 5. You'd minus the $2 for the big, the dollar here and the dollar here. So that'd be $33 that they would pay you. Now you lost 30 that got knocked off, so you would still be in profit 3. So see, I wasn't understanding that from the start. I just thought automatically if you got knocked off, you needed to go ahead and move right next to step level 2, but you don't have to. That's just another part of something I didn't see before I did this. But yeah, so I just wanted to kind of explain that. I'm probably not going to fool with lay betting because it's more for a choppy or a dark side, and it's like, okay, so let me go into this. Last night, I did do this a few times, and this is really what put me ahead in profit last night. I didn't run it many times, but I didn't do a whole lot of other stuff. I just kind of watched and monitored, and I watched to see paper bet, basically is what they call it. But I seen several more rows than I would have had losses. I would have had wins if I'd have did this move every single row. 30. Now this is how I was doing it. When I did play it, I do the 30 lay on the 4, 5, and 6. That's how I do it. I wouldn't even worry about guessing between the 4, 10, the 5, 9, or 6, 8. I would just do the 4, 5, and 6. And this is what I would do. If anything got, at first, when I first did it, the first time or two, if something got knocked off, I did replace that one with 48 and up the other two to 48. But then I realized, hey, if one gets knocked off one time, just leave it off. And then when the 7 comes, you're going to make a profit. I mean, you do have to cover for that 30, but there's enough in the profit that they're going to pay that's going to cover that 30. So I tell you what I did one time, because I wasn't familiar with this. This is why I like to get real familiar. I got one knockoff, so I replaced it with 48. Let's just say that's 48. And I upped both of these to 48. All right, and then I got the 7. So that worked out perfect. But what I forgot to do was reduce everything back down to 30, 30, 30. I forgot to go take my 48s back down to 30, 30. You know, I forgot that when I finally got my 7 to go ahead and start back over at the 30, 30, 30 level. So the very next hit, I think that 5 got bumped for 48. So I was already starting myself in level 2. So all I'm saying that for is, if you're going to run this strategy, just get familiar with it. And what I've seen of it last night, watching and like I said, paper betting. Man, this right here would have probably put me over $400 or $500 last night if I would have just trusted and played it on every shooter. But I'd play it a time or two, and then I'd cut it off, and I wouldn't play for 2 or 3 shooters or 4 or 5 rows, and I'd see come out 7, come out 7. I missed 2 or 3 come out 7s back to back to back on one shooter, and I just cut it off. I just did it on one shooter, and he 7'd out, so I got paid. And then on this next guy, I just said, just take me off for a minute. And when I did, that dude had 2 or 3 come out 7s in a row. So if you got the 30, 30, 30, if you got the 30, let's look at the money. If you got the 30, 30, 30, and say a come out 7 comes, that's immediately a $57 profit after the VIG, because you're going to get on this 30, you're going to get 15. You're going to get 15 minus the VIG, so that's 14. You're going to get 20 minus the VIG, so that's 19. You're going to get 25 minus the VIG, so that's 24. So 14, 19, and 24 is a $57 profit. And just think about that. 2 to 3 come out 7s. It works every time on come out 7s. I mean, you never have no knockoffs. Them come out 7s, it's a jewel. It's a diamond in the rough. This right here, I've been real skeptical about it. Not really so much that I didn't trust it. My issue was the progressive part of it. It can get real expensive really quick. So if you go up like progressing in that 1.5 progression every time one gets knocked off, and then adding them same amounts to the other 2 lays, you can get deep into money quick. Not saying that after eventually when the 7 comes, you're not going to make a profit. I'm just saying it can take quite a bit of money to run that progression strategy up into levels 4 and 5. So what I was trying to do last night, like I said, I was trying to stay around in level 1, maybe level 2. So if I had one knockoff, at first I was going on over into level 2 and replacing that with 48 and bumping the other 2 up for 48. But then I started realizing one knockoff, I can just not do nothing and stay at level 1. And if the 7 now comes, I'm going to still make a profit. But this is what was happening. It didn't happen many times at all. But this was what I would do. So if, say, one knockoff come and knock that 30 down, I would just wait. And then if another knockoff come, say that come and got knocked down, this is what I would do. I'd just tell him, take my 30 down. And I'd rack that back up. You know, I'm down 60 at this point. But, you know, I wasn't going to chase deep into a bunch of progression. I did a couple times. Like I said, I'd go into level 2. So I'd go into level 2 to where I had basically had 48 on each. But so in order to get 48 on each, you first got to do 30, 30, 30. One 30 gets knocked down. When when the first 30 gets knocked down, you have to add 48 and 18 and 18, which is another 76. 48, 18, and 18, another 74. So you have to throw another 74 in. So now you've got that. So that's why I kind of I didn't throw another. Sometimes I just waited. But anyway, I just wanted to explain that and go over that with you guys to let you know if you are going to practice this, or if you do see them kind of tables, in which that's what I see a lot, because generally, the majority of the time, me being at the casino, I don't know anybody there. You know, I don't have a crew. I don't have even a buddy of mine. Even my wife, they don't shoot. I don't know nobody like that. You know, not personally. I mean, I know a lot of guys from my Craps Nation guys, but they're so far away. You know, I got one or two that's kind of close, but they're not real close. You know, they're probably in the same casino area, but you know, I still haven't met up with them, and we've been shooting together. I don't have a. So my dilemma is, I'm at the table by myself. There's nobody that I know at the table. There's unknown people. So to me, that's randoms, especially when you see them grabbing the dice and shaking them, grabbing the dice, hitting the side wall with them till they like what they say, and then chunking them. That's all random. So, you know, every now and then you see somebody putting the dice sets on something, but it's nothing consistent. They're just putting it on anything, because I watched that. They're setting them. They're not being consistent. They're not putting it on a 3V. They're not putting it on a 2V. They're not putting it on a hallway. They're not putting it on a cross 6. In a minute, they might pick a 2-3-6, and the next minute that same dice might be a 4-6 or a 1-4 or 2-4. You know, that it's nothing consistent, basically, is what I'm saying. So what I'm getting at is, being at a casino by myself, not knowing nobody, not seeing any consistency in a roller other than just picking the dice up and, you know, pulling the voodoo on them, shaking them, blowing on them, talking to them, slinging them on the wall till they like what they see, spinning them around, you know. I seen one guy last night, he kept getting them and throwing them right here until he had 2 twos. He'd have them on 2 twos, but he wasn't trying to set them, because after he got the 2 twos showing, he would just take them and, you know, just pick them up and shake them or anything. And I was like, you know, really, what's the point? You sitting there getting them on 2s, and then you're gonna pick them up and shake them, and then throw them. And I was like, you know, it's just, to me, it's just randomness. So what I'm getting at is, this lay strategy works pretty decent for randoms, from what I've seen. And I didn't play it every time, but like I said, I could have played it, and I would have won a lot more times than I would have lost with it, because I was watching it. You know, I was watching that, what was happening. And like I said, if 2 lays got knocked off when I was on level 1, I would just go ahead and reduce that 3rd lay. Just go ahead and tell them to hand me that 3rd lay back, and I just take 60 as a loss and just be down. And then, you know, because, you know, that's just kind of the way I played it. That don't mean that's the way I was going to play it every time. That's just kind of the way I played it last night. I didn't want to get real deep into the progressions. I didn't want to get $400, $500, $800 into 3 level 4, 5 and stuff like that. So I just stayed kind of conservative. I guess you can call me a puppy that still ain't got off the porch yet. I'm still brand new at all this stuff. I'm still trying to learn it, and I'm not trying to go get my head whacked off in one session. So, you know, I try to just be very conservative on my betting. I limp in. I creep around the tables, and I look at them real strong. I don't just jump out there crazy and wild, throwing here and throwing there. And, you know, I did that a couple weeks ago. I thought, you know, since I've been having some good success on my home table, I could repeat that success in the casino, but it's different. So, you know, now I've kind of realized, you know, I have to slow my roll, as they call it, and I have to just be patient. Walk around the tables, be patient, and just be patient. And like I said, being conservative with these lays on randoms, because I want to give you one more story about last night. I'll probably give a full trip casino report because I went to 6 different casinos last night. I didn't play but at 2 of them, but I went to 6. No, I actually played at 3, but I didn't stay in them long. I just wanted really basically to go see table conditions. But I want to give you this right here. Sam's Town in Tunica, they make you play $25 minimum. Now you can bet it however you want to. As long as you got $25 in play, they don't care how you put it up. Well, I mean, lowest minimum is $5. They're not going to let you put $1 on the pass line. But you can go to minimum $5 on the place bets or the line bets. And you can go down to dollars on the ATS. But as long as you got $25 minimum at play, they let you spread it out how you want to. But here was the thing. The table, it wasn't but me on one end, and there was 3 people on the other end. And when this happened, the dealer made me put my money in play, and I wasn't shooting. And I was just, I got through shooting, and it went to the next roller. It was actually 2 on my end. It was me and another guy on my end. It was 3 on the other end. But it was on this guy down here behind after me, and he had got a point or whatever, and the dealer told me, he said, they needed money from me. And I said, what do you need money from me for? I'm going to sit out right now. And they said, no, you've got to ante up. You've got to put $25 in play on every shooter. So that kind of rubbed me wrong. I really didn't like that. I could have probably understood that if there would have been people waiting in line to get on the table. But the table was not even full. There was nobody waiting. And they still made me do that? Well, here was the issue. I'd only shot 1 time at this point. And I'd only needed 2 to complete a small or 12 to complete a tall. I did pretty good. So, but there was this other guy that was down here on the other side. He was on stick right 1. And he was, I seen him a few weeks back when I was in Sam's Town. And he's a local there. And he's a pretty good shooter. So I wanted to wait till the dice got back around to him for sure. Hang on a minute. Hey, y'all hush. Sorry about that. But anyway, I wanted to wait on him. I wanted to wait on the dice to get back around to him before I could have another shot on betting with him shooting and hitting the all tall small again. And so I had to put the 25. Actually 27, what I did, I just did the 4, 5. I did 5, 6, 8, and 9 for 22, and I did a 2, 1, 2 on the ATS. That made me 27 in the game. Well, the guy probably didn't get but 2 or 3 hits, so I didn't lose a lot, but I was, I just didn't like the idea that they was making me bet on every shooter. So it happened the same way. You got to the guy on the hook, you got to the guy on the end, and then it was finally back around to the shooter, the one I was waiting on. So 3 guys right there that I had to wait through, that I had to go, like that through, which wasn't a lot of money at risk. I just didn't like that. I just didn't like that about Sam's Town. So that kind of struck me odd. But anyway, I talked a little bit about what I was going to share with you was about this $30 lays. You can do these in other increments instead of 30s. If you wanted to lay them for 60, you can do this for 60, 60, and 60, and this is pretty much going to be double. The only difference is you might not quite collect 114 here. So like 60, 60, 60, if the 7 come out, you're gonna collect over 100 right there off this 120. This 120 is gonna bring you like 114 by the time you pay the VIGs, maybe 112. Hey, what's up, Clay? So yeah, that's kind of what this is. But yeah, so there is different levels of this. But like I mentioned to start with, if the first lay gets knocked down, I didn't understand this earlier in the week when I wrote out my pay sheets and tried it on the table, because the first time the lay was getting knocked down, I was automatically going 1.5 that lay and then bringing the other two up to meet the same amounts. But what I realized last night, if the first lay gets knocked down, you can just leave it down. Don't even got to worry about it. Because sometimes it takes quite a few rows to knock off 2 or 3 lays. I've seen them hitting aces and 2s and 12s and all the high box numbers, and I was on the low box numbers, and you know, they might hit one box number that I'm on and not one lay down, but then they're hitting all these other numbers, and then you're 6, 7, 8 shots into it, and they've never hit none of these other lays, and then boom, 7. So you get paid. Times a lot of times I've seen this right here. 3 lays. Well, I ain't gonna say I've seen it with the 60s. I'm just showing you can do it with 60s. I seen it because I was doing with the 30s. Come out 7. So boom, frontline winner for you. And I seen one dude had 2 to 3 come out 7s in a row. Boom, boom, boom. I wasn't betting it at the time he did it. Like I said earlier, I was being conservative. I'm kind of slow. I'm just tiptoeing around the edge of the pond right now. I want to jump in, but I'm not jumping in too fast and too deep because, you know, I'm still a rookie at this. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure out what works good and what does not get my head whacked off. Go in the casino, you know, thinking you can do in a casino what you've been doing at home. It's a different ball game. I just want to put that out there. It's a different ball game. You know, I can sit right here on this video and I can throw 500, I can throw 440 across like it ain't no problem. And if it gets whacked off, I can reach over to the dealer stack over and say, oh, go ahead and give me a $500 marker. Like it ain't no problem. And I can re-up that 440. Like it ain't no problem. I just want everybody to understand it's a whole different ball game in a casino with real $500 that's gone, that you're not getting a marker and take a couple hits and pay it back. It don't work like that. It don't work like that. You got to reach in your pocket and get another 500. And when you're coming off of $500 bills like that, it's not so easy to put 440 back up there. So I'm not so quick and fast to jump out there with 440s, 220s. I'm not so quick and fast to do it. You know, I want to get to the table and be patient with it. I'm conservative. I want to sit at the table. I want to watch and see what's happening. I want to take a little risk at the time. And Sam's Town last night made me play every shooter, and I didn't really like that. I give you a couple more reports. The Fitzgerald didn't have an ATS, but it did have fire bets. And the thing that was kind of, I didn't even play in there, but I watched for a little while, because the reason was they had plexiglass dividers between every shooter. And I really didn't want to risk money trying to shoot with a plexiglass in my way. You know, I didn't really want to know. I didn't know. I kept walking up and getting in that slot, because the guy that left stick left one, I kept walking up there before anybody else got there, and I look over the table and stuff, and the dealer was asking me, you know, did I want in or whatever, but, you know, I'd get close and see if that plexiglass was going to affect me, but I never got in. I never played it. That plexiglass I just didn't want to fight that battle. But after I left, I thought, well, man, I should at least put a pass line up and shot for one time, you know, just to see. But I didn't. I didn't want to take the chance. I didn't want to get in there. Went to another one, and it was 2 different ones did this. Hollywood and Horseshoe. Hollywood and Horseshoe has all stick left one and stick right one positions closed. And Hollywood might even have been a 14-foot table. So a 14-foot table and I'm going to have to back away from where I'm normally shooting from stick left 1 on a 12-foot table. I was going to have to move back at least to stick left 2, and I was going to be on a 14-foot table. I didn't play that one. Hollywood. Uh, no, that was Hollywood. Horseshoe had all stick left 1 and stick right 1 positions closed. Nobody could get on them, but all their minimums were 25. All their tables were pretty much full. Had 5 or 6 tables running, and they had 2 or 3 crapless tables there. They had all your bets. They had all your bonus bets that I can remember. Pretty sure I seen the fire bet. I know I seen the ATSs. But I didn't like the fact that stick left 1 was closed, because here in my little room right here where I've been practicing, I've got everything jammed up in here so I don't have my table moved out to where I can get around it real conveniently. But that's about to change. I'm fixing to sort some stuff out in this room, move some stuff around so that I can slide this table out and shoot from different positions on the table. Because that's another factor. That's another factor. You might not always find the position you want. And on top of finding the position you want, the different table underlayments are different. So that's another thing that I've considered changing is my table. Because my table, when I say it's hard, that's pretty dang hard compared to what I see in other tables. When I throw on other tables, a lot of times the dice don't go down and stop like that. And I've tried every kind of different setting and throwing as possible on those tables, and the dice still bounce off, a lot further back. To me, that's a bouncy table. But anyway, so this is all just changes that you have to make generally on the fly. That's why I'm still creeping around before I jump off into the deep end. I'm just still testing the waters right now. I want to find the table that's got the good table that I like. I want a casino that's got the bonus bets I want. And I want a casino where the dealers and pit balls are not going to be pressuring me and not going to be making me play every shooter. These are all conditions that I'm going to find, or I'm not going to play. Do just like I did with them last night. Take my business to another one. It's too many of them casinos out there for me to have to do what they want. It's just like this. If I'm going to buy a new vehicle, I'm going to buy what I want. I'm not going to buy what the dealership says he wants to give me. I'm going to buy what I want. And if it ain't what I want, then I'm going to go to another dealership. And if I can't find it, I'm going to go to another one. I'm going to wait till I find what I want. And it's the same way on these tables. So overall last night, I left with $52 to the profit, which was not bad at all, because, the way I felt like I said, I was tiptoeing around. It give me some more experience on tables. I went to 6 different casinos trying to, get all the, see what's happening, see what I like, see which ones is what, and I'm going to keep doing that until I find the right ones that I like. I've probably shared this story already, but I'm going to tell this one quickly. Last weekend, I went over to Philadelphia, Choctaw, and I went over to the Golden Moon. That pit boss over there kind of stepped in after a few of my rows, and he told me I was going to have to speed my throw up because we only have an 8-second rule. He said I was being too slow. I would take the dice and I put them on what I want them on, moving them around, grabbing them, picking them up, setting them, throwing them. All right. He said I was being too slow. That kind of rubbed me the wrong the more I thought about it, because there was one guy that was taking them and doing them this number here. He'd do it 5, 6, 7, 8 rows till he seen what he liked. When he seen what he liked, then he'd throw it. They ain't said a word to him. Not one word. And he did that. He was at the table. When I got to the table, he was there shooting. I had to wait an hour to get on the table. So and he was there that whole hour, and I probably stayed on that table last week for 2 hours. He was there. And when I left, he was still there. They never said a word to him at all, but yet told me that I was going to have to speed my throw up. So I kind of didn't like that. So that it just kind of rubbed me wrong. It's the kind of stuff that will make me not go back. I'll take my business somewhere else. The way I see it is this. Yeah. I'm in their establishment. I'm gambling, but this is my money. They already got the favor. They already favored to beat us in this game. Quit trying to put all these other expectations and these other limitations on me, rushing me and making me bet on every shooter. I don't want to play that kind of way. But I can say this: so the last one I finally went to was a Gold Strike, and Gold Strike, you can stand around the table and bet on whichever shooter you want. They're not pressuring you to bet on every shooter. They're not. They had a $15 minimum, so $15 minimum and bet it how you want to. But there was not like no $25 minimum all across the board. It wasn't no betting on every shooter. It wasn't none of that. And their tables were pretty much full. Well, it was probably about 2 in the morning when I got the Gold Strike. So there was a couple of tables that still had a couple slots here and there open. But anyway, I just wanted to share some of that with you guys. Since I've been on this video for over 30 minutes, going on 40 minutes now. No, 30 minutes now. I'm going to go ahead and end this video. I just wanted to talk a little bit about these lay bets. And I wanted to share a little bit about table conditions. And then my phone's beeping and ringing and got text messages coming through. And we'll go in and check with the wife for a minute and see what's going on. And then I'm going to come back in a little bit and I'm going to do a practice session. I'll probably roll for about 30, 40 rolls, maybe hopefully an hour, whatever. But on that note, I appreciate any and everybody hanging out with me, and I will be back in a little bit. So on that note, Chili from O-Town, Dice are out.